living life in a chronic state of fear can trigger and worsen your chronic pain and symptoms. Part 2. Welcome to Part 2 of how living life in a chronic state of fear can trigger and worsen your chronic pain and symptoms. Now in Part 1, we talked about the high sympathetic lifestyle, how a lifestyle filled with fear, frustration, anger, fight or flight energy can actually worsen your chronic symptoms, and what are some small steps you can do to start changing this. So if you haven't seen that video and you relate to that, go back and watch it. But today we are talking about the low dorsal vagal lifestyle. This is a lifestyle where we feel numb. We feel in despair. We are shut down. Our system is completely shut down. And one thing that I want to note here, it doesn't mean you're not doing anything. There's something called functional freeze, where you're functioning in the world. You have family, you have friends, you work, you go to school maybe, but you're functioning in a state of freeze. And what's happened is you're in a state of fear, so much fear and life threat that your nervous system is shut down. You don't actually have to have your life being threatened, but that's what your nervous system is perceiving. And so you're completely shut down, and it takes a lot of work when we're in this low dorsal vagal lifestyle to actually function. Your nervous system is working so hard and still in a chronic state of fear. And so you're constantly getting danger signals sent from the way that we're living life. And again, you're not to blame for this. You've probably faced a lot of adversity, trauma, overwhelming situations, factors in life that lock you into this shutdown state. Now, I will mention when we have chronic pain and symptoms, we can go to this low dorsal vagal lifestyle really easy. When I had widespread chronic pain, I was living in this basement suite and I never left it. I'd say for probably 8 months, I was locked in there. I didn't see friends. I didn't see family. I didn't move my body because I was terrified. And so, as I've talked about, sensitization trauma is the trauma from the onset or progression of chronic pain and symptoms, and that can lock us into this low dorsal vagal lifestyle because we're not moving, we don't have purpose. Basically, our chronic pain and symptoms have taken everything away from us. And if you relate to that, I really do empathize because that is a hard place to sit. But we can start to make changes using a mind-body approach. Using my approach, the somatic safety method, you can start to make changes. And I'm really devoted to giving free content on here. My upcoming course, hopefully coming up in the near future, will also support you in doing this if you need extra support. So let's look at what happens with a low dorsal vagal lifestyle. So the dorsal vagal system, it's not all bad. It helps us have stillness, and it helps us rest. And we need those states. We need some dorsal vagal energy, but we can separate out the dorsal vagal immobilization, stillness, rest from the chronic fear. But what happens to people is stillness and rest turns to limited movement and exercise, excessive media and electronics, avoiding the outside world, limited time in nature, social withdrawal, isolation, and little motivation or purpose. And so when I was in chronic pain and symptoms, I can promise you I was in this zone. I really was by the end. When sensitization trauma continues on, the last stage is really getting into this low dorsal vagal place where we're shut down and we're numb. And so the secret here, I'm going to give some ideas of how you can start to shift out of that, but go slow. This is not something that's going to change overnight. It took me several months to pull myself out of this, but action breeds motivation. If you're waiting for motivation and a low dorsal vagal lifestyle to change, it's not going to come. The small actions start to actually breed motivation. The small actions cause changes to take place, causes our system to start to mobilize, And then we have more motivation to take more action. And this safety cycle starts to perpetuate us out of that zone. And that's going to help you heal your chronic pain and symptoms. We cannot heal staying locked in this low dorsal vagal place. So there's 3 things I focus on with people. And in my upcoming course, there's 3 things we focus on to pull people out of a low dorsal vagal lifestyle. And so this is connection, this is passion and purpose, and playful movement. These 3 things, connection, passion and purpose, playful movement. So we need connection. We need to co-regulate. On my channel, I talk lots about self-regulation skills. The natural way your nervous system regulates is in co-regulation with others. It's when we're in connection with another person's nervous system or another animal's nervous system, and they start to regulate together. This connection is vital. When we're in a shutdown, low dorsal vagal lifestyle, we don't want to connect. And so we need to make small steps. I get lots of comments being like, I live locked in my house. I can't move because of pain. How do I connect? Well, we have the internet, and that's a good place to start. I got onto some free mind-body forums. TMS Wiki, I was reading stories. I was talking to people back and forth when I was healing. There's lots of ways we can connect while still being in our house. Now, over time, I want people to have direct connection with people or animals. But to start, if you're really locked in place, you can't move, this is a good place to start. Start to connect. Now, don't go on to toxic chronic pain or symptom websites. I do suggest a mind-body forum or something of that nature. In my upcoming course, we do have a community component. We're going to have a community section where people can heal together because we need to heal together. Now, over time, even if you could have a friend over for coffee a few times a week, that's going to go a long way to start to mobilize your system and upregulate your system, which is what we need when we're shut down. Next, we talk about passion or purpose. We need passion or purpose. When I was first healing, in that first year, I decided, well, maybe a little bit more past the first year, after I was starting to work again, I started to have some passion about the work I was doing at the time. And I also decided with a friend to make a children's book because I was going to have my son soon. He was going to be born soon. So we decided we were going to make a children's book. And I like doing the art. I'm creative. And I'm not a great artist. I'm not horrible, but I'm not amazing. And we never published it. But even as you hear me talk right now, I got excited about it. It gave me passion. It gave me purpose. So I really motivate people. What would you be doing if you didn't have chronic pain and symptoms? Sometimes that's a hard question to ask, but what would you be doing? Because that's what I want people to start to do. Start to mobilize your system, get passionate, get purposeful, and again, action will breed motivation. Don't wait for some inspiring moment, some motivating moment. When we're shut down, that's not going to happen. But if we can start to engage in small tasks, don't make your task too big because then you're not going to be able to get it. And then we end up feeling like failures, which is a hard cycle to get into. So make small tasks. I remember when I was doing the children's book, I was like, okay, I'm putting aside a couple hours a week to start to work on the art. That's a great place to start. So we need passion and purpose to heal. Start to make smart steps forward. Sorry, I can't talk right now. And the last thing that's going to help you move out of a low dorsal vagal lifestyle is playful movement. Now, this is a hard topic because when I had widespread pain, movement was really difficult. It really was. It was really, really hard. And so at first, it was like dancing to songs. And that's almost all I could do is just going back and forth. And I enjoyed the movement that was taking place. It was really micro movements at first. I couldn't, go dance up a storm for an hour. That's not going to happen. But I started to get some movement back in my system with playful movement. I started to do some Qigong moves that give some playful movement. Qigong's a great place to start. It's going to regulate you. It's slow movement. You can have some fun with it. I'll link a video up top that you can check out and put down below. I am going to teach a Qigong course in the near future here that's going to become available, but more to come on that. But movement is needed. If we want to come out of a shutdown place, we got to start to move our body and do it not in this fear-based way, but in a playful way. So you could dance. You could, play with a pet just lightly. Don't have to move too much, but be playful. It's going to help you shift out of this shutdown state. So I hope this video was helpful and gives you some ideas around how you can start to shift out of this low dorsal vagal place. Again, we really need connection, we need passion and purpose, and we need playful movement. So make some small goals to focus on this week. Please put your questions or comments down below, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you all next week. Take care.